Now that we have a DAO structure in place, we can start to fill in the other methods, which hopefully will go a little bit quicker once we understand the pattern. So let's start with what I think is probably the easiest one. Let's start with a delete statement, because this delete statement is the least amount of code to go after and customize inside of there. So right here, I want to replace this delete statement with something that's happening up above. Now the count doesn't mean anything anymore. I can probably exclude that from my work going forward. So I'm going to copy this, go to product DAO, my delete statement. I'm going to paste this inside of there and get rid of the count. Now again, I have the same problem I had before, statement. I need a statement. So I can go through and copy these 3 lines of code and I can drop them up here. And that's where I'm going to start here for a moment. I'm going to drop these 3 lines of code up here, because that gives me the work I have going on, getting that up and ready. All right. Again, in the mode of keep it simple, I have my code compiling. Let's test it out. Let's come back to this right here. This line of code I'm going to replace. I'm going to delete it, replace it with DAO.delete. I don't have to pass anything because I'm not doing anything with it at this point. I can leave that null. I'm going to run it. And it looks like it worked. Nothing broke. I need to actually run it twice to validate, because then I need to make sure up top that I did delete it, which I did because I didn't get the exception when I tried to insert it. Just as a fair test case, I wanted to run it twice. So as simple as that, I took a line of code over here, I dropped it over here, I threw some stuff up top, and it all is up and working. This is fine. It's not optimal in that we have URL copied many times. We have connection being created in many places. The statement actually bothers me less. You should really actually create a statement every time before you go and update it. That one's fine. But let's clean up at least a little bit of this. I don't need the exact URL copied every time. I can make that an attribute of my class here. So I can make this, I would do better than that. I'm going to be a private static attribute. That's final. I'm going to make this a constant inside of my location. So now I can go through and I can delete URL from each of these down below, and everything will still work. Again, if you're not sure about your coding, you change something, 1 line of code, in this case 2 lines of code, run it again. Make sure it's all working. If I mess something up there, it wouldn't have compiled or it wouldn't run. So 1 line of code, change it and run. Excuse me. This is better. One slight improvement you can do on this is when I create a data access object, I normally want to have a connection that goes with it. And I don't necessarily want each data access object to make its own connection. So the best optimal solution inside of here is actually to create, instead of the URL up top, actually create the connection up top. And I'm going to show you this a couple steps inside of here. Oops. Because I can't do this work right here. There's issues with that. I'm going to make a private connection here. And for this connection, I want to pass it in as part of the constructor. So what I'm saying is I'm going to be a product DAO. It's not my job to connect to localhost database sales DAO. I'll connect to anything that's a product table. You tell me the location of the database. You tell me the username, password. You tell me all that sort of stuff. I will connect to it. That's a much better design here, because eventually you're not just going to have a product DAO, you're going to have a customer DAO. So you're going to have to go off and build that, and you don't want to have to repeat all this stuff over and over again, copy and paste it 100 different places. So I can actually get rid of this and just have a connection that's going to be shared across all of them. And I can actually get rid of this, and I can actually get rid of down here. Oops, I already did. So I just get a statement from the connection, and then I do whatever work I want to on the statement. And all this product DAO is compiling just fine. My JDBC's compiling just fine because my, oh no, it's not good, it's not. There it is. It was compiling fine because it was messed up. It shouldn't have been, because now I need to pass in the connection here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't delete it. It's right here. What I can do is I can take these 2 lines of code and put them up top and pass in that connection to the DAO. and just force this again. I don't know what's up with this class. Force this again to compile, and then when I run it, it all should run the same, and it does. Okay, so that's the next thing I want to do on a DAO is I want to abstract out, and I want to get rid of my dependency on driver manager inside of here entirely. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-I and make that go away because I'm going to abstract out the connection. So now I can connect whether it's your database, my database, any database. My job is you give me a connection, I do some work with it. That's much nicer. Okay? Now that I have this proper connection, let's make my product work on any ID, not just ID 99. This is ridiculously easy once you see the pattern, hopefully. Instead of putting 99 in there, I can do plus, add in the string p.getID. So I'm creating a string that's exactly what it was before, and instead of taking that hard-coded number 99, I'm going to replace that 99 with the ID I'm getting from the product that got passed in. Now, if I run this code as is, I'm going to get a null pointer exception because I'm passing in null right here. So I got one other thing to do to fix my test. Over here, let me create a product test me is equal to new product p.setID. Nope, test me, excuse me. 99. I don't need to set the rest of them right this moment because it's only 99 we care about. It's the only one we're using. So I'm just going to start there and test this. So p.testme is 99. I'm passing in 99. I should be printing out 99 as part of this string right here. I run it, and nothing breaks. I run it, and it did indeed delete it because I have to run it twice to check it out. So the update statement with dynamic data is a matter of string manipulation and forming your SQL into the right SQL. Now, it gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to do another one of these in a second. We're going to go off and do the create, then we'll go off and do the update. I want to pause right here and let you go off and make these changes and make sure your delete's up and working. Ideally, you can get the delete working first, have that happy, then move over the connection outside of the product DAO, and then come back and make this work with the dynamic one. But if you don't want to do parts of that, or you have a problem with parts of that, you make it work right now. Come and ask for help later on. But try and make this work, get this next step working.